What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel. We are doing the Titleist Pro V series today. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Guys, as always, thank you for all the likes, comments, subscribes. I really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel further, we have a membership that just starts at $1 a month. I really appreciate everyone who's been doing that. It seems to have been blowing up lately, and you guys have my gratitude. Seriously, thank you. And if you're new here, if you want in-depth golf ball reviews from an average golfer standpoint, from an average swing standpoint, maybe a different perspective, I'll tell you what, we do a really great job here on Golf Ball Addict. We have an amazing golf ball community here. We'd love for you to be a part of it, so hit that subscribe button. All right, so when it comes to the Pro V1, I don't really have an introduction. Let's just dive right in. I mean, we know what we're getting into here. Let's start with the pricing. You know, the pricing is kind of one of the big issues with the Pro V1 I've had in the past. It's $55 a dozen, which is pretty much top of the market. You know, Pro V1 set that market a few years back, and then now companies like Callaway have followed. You know, their Chrome Tour and their Chrome Softline are $55 a dozen. The TaylorMade TP5, you know, that's $55 a dozen. Personally, I just think it's ridiculous. You know, anyone with a limited income or a fixed income, or, you know, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you still want to play golf, that's just an outrageous price. I mean, $55 a dozen. Even if you don't lose a lot, you know, golf balls, I believe, most of the time are only good for a round or two anyway at the most. Even if the best durability, they start to just lose their pop and lose their putting. It's just a lot of money. It really, really is. And so the value score isn't going to be good there. Also, I noticed that Titleist doesn't offer free shipping on their website unless you get to $175, which would be 4 boxes. That seems really crazy, especially when like Sarcasm, I think, is $50. TaylorMade, as long as you're just a rewards member, whatever, you just give them your email, that's free regardless. That seems really high, but the thing is that you can get Titleist Pro V1 golf balls anywhere, and I mean anywhere. Every pro shop, every grocery store, every golf shop, maybe Lowe's, Home Depot. I mean, you can get them anywhere. You really can. I mean, they're all over. So I don't think anybody would ever shop through Titleist directly unless you wanted to do the customized options, you know, for the golf balls. But I did notice that, and I thought that was weird. But yeah, it's an extremely expensive price. Anyone on a limited income is not going to be able to afford that. And you know, that's the thing about me reviewing the Pro V1 that I've ran into issues with in the past years, is that with that price point, I have to hold these golf balls to a really, really, really high standard. I mean, of course you do. They're $55 a dozen. Why am I paying that price? You know, so I do expect them to perform very, very, very well. I expect them to have a ton of spin, a ton of distance, great feel, and I do expect there to be some really good durability as well, and that's, I think, justified. You got a price point like that, it makes sense, you know what I mean? All right, so let's get into design of all three of these. I'm gonna put the fronts of all three of them up on the screen so you can see. Starting at the far left, we have just the regular Pro V1, then we have the Pro V1X, and then we have the AVX. You know, with the Pro V1, the biggest surprise to me is that the Pro V1 and the AVX actually have the same coloring. They have the same logo and the same coloring. I feel like with the AVX, they definitely should have done a green number. That way they could indicate it is different. As you can see on the Pro V1X, they did a red number. But Titleist has a great logo. It's iconic. It's, you know, I mean, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be classic design. So I can't really comment on that too much. The golf balls all do come in a yellow or a white, which is nice. Now, if we turn them all on the side here, this is where Titleist finally has come around a little bit here. Okay, so this is all, you know, on the far left there, that is your basic vanilla line. That's the basic alignment tool that comes with the Pro V1. That one is not my favorite. I don't like the words in the middle. That's how you can indicate it is a 2025, by the way. As you can see, the sharp, thick black line with the point at the end, that's how you know it is a new one. They were see-through the previous year, so if you get one that's thick and colored in like that, you know it's a new model. Now in the middle there, that's the new alignment enhance that Titleist is doing, which that's a lot better. I like that much, much, much better. You know, it's interesting. Titleist was the last guy to seat at that table. They really were. They did not want to do an alignment tool. You know, all these alignment tools were coming out in the golf community. I know a lot of you don't like them, but the golf community was like, no, we want them, we want them. And they were kind of like that one friend that's no fun, that's like just sitting in the chair, and, you know, everyone's like, hey, come on, we're going to Chili's, we're going to get some food. And no, I don't want to. I want to watch Lawrence Welk. Like that guy. And then finally, you know, after Lawrence Welk ended and he's like, oh, I'm sitting here alone. All my friends are at Chili. He's like, okay, I'll do an alignment tool, whatever. Like, that's what it felt like, because Titleist held out for years on doing the alignment tool. I mean, it's been like 5-6 years at this point. Companies have been doing these. I don't know why they held out so long. But anyway, now I wish they did these on the Pro V1 and the Pro V1X, but on the AVX, you can actually get the 360 line now, which looks like this, and that's really good too. So Titleist is starting to offer up options, which is great. I don't know why they've been such sticklers about that in the past, but now, you know, these options are great. They don't have much in the way of limited designs. They did come out with the 4th of July, which, as you can see here, this is pretty cool. The color scheme works great there, and it's awesome, again, with the alignment aid and everything. So, all right, that's our design. Let's go ahead and get out there to the putting green, and let's see how it does with chipping, spin, and some putting. Nice low spinner. Oh my gosh. That had so much rollout. I mean, there was like no rotation on that ball at all. Okay. Maybe I mishit it. Let's try it again. Okay, nice low. You know, and I finally did get some bite on that one, but even though I got bite, it still had a firm rollout. It didn't really check up. As far as the feel and sound goes, you know, the sound is crispy, the feel is super buttery. I mean, it's like super smooth in the hands. The feedback is so gentle. It's exactly how I expect a Titleist ball to be. All that's perfect, but there's just not a lot of rotation and there's not a lot of bite. So I'm gonna run it back here and try it one more time. Okay, nice. The bite is there, but then it just firmly rolls out and it just goes off the green. I mean, that's pretty disappointing. There's no other way around it. Left spin. Yeah, okay, it's got some left spin. That's good. Excellent. Little cut, nice. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, it's got a little bass effect when you hit that cut. Boy, there's no way to sugarcoat it. You know, there's just not a lot of rotation on that ball. That's not what I would expect from that price point. It's not what I would expect from a Pro V1. Maybe they did change it this year and it's not supposed to be as much greenside spin, but yeah, no, I've got about 50 or 60 golf balls that spin way more than that greenside. So let's go to the X. Maybe the X model actually is designed to have a little more spin, more bite. Nice. Oh yeah, okay, well, but again, the bass effect is there. That ball jumped about 3 feet left, which, you know, is a little bit of a miss hit. I had the face closed, but then it just firmly rolled out. There was no, you know, checkup. So let me kind of open the face. Let me try that. Okay, nice. Guys, that's just so disappointing. It's just rolling to the end. Again, the feel is great there. This one is more clickier. You can hear that click. It's definitely louder. But where's the spin? Where's the checkup? Where's the rotation on the ball? Okay, another nice hit, and it firmly rolls off the back of the green. Unbelievable. All right, so one more time with the X. I'm gonna try some left spin. Nice. Oh yeah, okay, so again, left spin's there, which is weird to me. I've never seen a ball that has that left and right spin, but it just doesn't check up. That's so strange. I'm gonna try that nasty cut. Oh, that was beautiful. And it just didn't spin really. Yeah, I mean, look at the firm rollout. Like, I have to, like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but that ball landed basically right about here. And I had to let it firmly roll to the hole, and it even had a lot of heat when it hit the back of the cup. Okay. Nice. Just one of the firmest rollouts I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they're all very consistent. This one doesn't have as much click as the Pro V1X, but it has a little more than the Pro V1. So it's kind of in the middle there when it comes to the click. Again, the feel's soft. Yeah, soft buttery. I love the feel. Guys, there's just no rotation on this ball. I can't get it to bite or check up or do anything. I mean, I just can't. That is so disappointing. I mean, we're talking about possibly being 30%, 35% on the spin meter here. You know, we just got done with Strixon Z-Stars and they were 90 and 85. And I mean, they were ripping back to me and they were biting. I mean, it had more bite than a snake pit. And these, I mean, all right, try some left spin here. Not really, not a lot of left spin with that one. That one was pretty consistent, not a lot of bite, not a lot of rotation either on that. So now let's try the nasty cut. Okay, got some bass effect with that one. That's not bad, but again, the firm rollout. I mean, it's cool that it's, you know, jumping and bassing, but then when it just firmly releases and shoots off the back of the green, it just doesn't do very good, unfortunately. I'm gonna try one more here just to get a nice clean hit right for the hole. Gonna go for it, gonna go flag seeking. And again, just too hot. You know what I mean? The ball landed 4 or 5 feet in front of the hole, and it wasn't a perfect pure hit, but it wasn't bad. And I mean, it's just gone. Yeah. You know, in all my time of green testing, I've never spent this long on a golf ball lineup. You know, I've been out here for over an hour, chipping from the grass on the back over here, which I normally never do, trying to get some type of rotation, opening the face, closing the face, out to in to out, different club, different this. There's no rotation on these balls. I mean, I would call the spin meter like a 30% for the Pro V1. I would call it, you know, maybe a 40% for the Pro V1X, and then I would call it, you know, 30% for the AVX. It's just really disappointing, you know, and a lot of you come to the channel talking about how the reason you're willing to justify the price is because of the green side checkup and the bite. Guys, I've tested 20 to 25 golf balls this year alone that have more greenside checkup than this. You know, Max Fly Tours and the Strixon Ulti Speed, which is iometer of all things. And it's really disappointing. It's not what I was expecting. So let's go ahead and get to the putting. All right, Pro V1, heavier mallet putter. Oh, nice. Very beautiful. Yeah, love the, again, Titleist around the putter. I'm not gonna need to see much here. They've always been perfect when it comes to putter, you know, feel, roll, all that good stuff. They've always been really top notch, and so I'm not gonna do a heavy in-depth test. As long as everything checks the boxes here like they usually do, it should be fine. Yeah, beautiful. Great roll, yeah, great roll, great feel, very light, airy, crispy, doesn't feel heavy coming off the putter. It just has this smoothness in the hands, just like with the wedge. It's awesome. I mean, this is what every golf ball strives to be, so that makes sense. Yeah, love it. Look at that. Oh, that was good. I just put a little too much on it. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, of course it is. That's always really good. Now we'll get into the X. Okay, a little heavier, but still extremely smooth. That was nice. Again, 10 out of 10 roll there, very nice. Now the feel is still pretty smooth for the most part, but there definitely is a louder click, you know, and you'll hear it just because of that. And that was on the wedge also, so. Oh, nice, beautiful. Yeah, great. Mishit that one and it's still great. Yeah, perfect, okay. Oh man, soft. That's some butter right there. That's great. That's definitely the softest of the 3 off the mallet putter. That's awesome. Again, a really great roll. We'll keep testing that just to make sure, but yeah, these are just all top tier. Love it. Yeah, everything's right toward the hole. Everything's close. Nice consistent roll. Great distance control, excuse me. Mishit. It doesn't even matter, perfect in. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to see any more. Like I said, Titleist is always really tightened around the green when it comes to putting. All those are 10 out of 10 roll. All those are really soft, crispy, buttery feel. The main difference is the AVX is a little bit softer, like it's more squishy just a little bit, but nothing exaggerated. And then the Pro V1X has a louder click, and that's about it. All right, moving over to the traditional style old blade putter. Okay, mishit. Boy, I should mishit it more often. Again, really good. That one did have some feedback in the hands, but it is a traditional putter, and I also mishit it, so that's good. Again, really buttery when it comes to that feel. It's just nice and soft and smooth. Yep, very nice. A tiny bit of chug there, but that's my fault. Not bad. Not a great swing, but still a great roll. Yeah, really nice. So I do notice the sound's a lot clickier. You definitely notice it off of a traditional blade putter, but it's not bad, it's not obnoxious. It's not loud and it's not really ringing my ears, but it's noticeable. It definitely makes its presence known, but the 10 out of 10 roll is still great. The feedback in the hands is still smooth. Awesome. Okay, Pro V1X. Oh, nice. Beautiful. Mwah, little kiss. Yeah, I love that. Again. Surprising enough, I'm not getting that same click with this one. This one actually is a more subdued, which is kind of interesting. So it's reacting a little different. Yeah, tried to get a click there by maybe hitting it off the toe a little bit, but again, no, that ball's just not as clicky as the regular Pro V1 when it comes to the blade. If you get to the mallet, it switches, it's the opposite, but here, that golf ball's actually pretty subdued when it comes to the sound. Oh, that's just so soft and buttery. My goodness. It's just, it's mwah. Oh, I love that. Seriously, like the AVX by far is the best feeling around the green out of the three. I mean, maybe not by far, but it's definitely noticeable. I like how it feels a lot. All of them are top tier, of course, but with this one just seems to really, you know, every once in a while I say it's like making love to the golf ball. It just feels like the golf ball comes into the putter and just, ooh, it's just a nice gentle embrace. Yeah, that's just so awesome. The roll is so great, no chug effect. Even that one deserved to have some chug effect. It wasn't a great swing by me, and it doesn't matter. A little too much on it, but it was still a great strike, yeah. Yeah, overall not a bad feel. You know, I'd say a 4 out of 5 when it comes to the pure hits with the Pro V1. The only reason it actually gets knocked down to a 4 is because it is a little heavy. I mean, it really is. I mean, even though when you hit it, it feels great when pured, it does feel like it's a tad heavy just because it's firmer. So I think a faster swing speed, maybe someone who's 100, 105, maybe, and maybe a little stronger of a golfer, maybe if they have a little bit more heavier of a shaft, I think they might think it's a 5 out of 5, but for me, with the lighter stuff, it feels heavy, it really does, and so that's a 4 out of 5 there. Miss hits are, you know, again, 4 out of 5, really good actually. They give you feedback, but it doesn't feel like the ball's really delaying. It doesn't feel like I'm losing a ton of distance. It feels like it comes off really good, but it still lets me know, pretty medium, you know what I mean? It's not soft, it's kind of like, hey, dummy, you messed up, but so not quite what I was expecting, but still really good. So now let's move on to the X. Now this is where I usually run into trouble because this is usually the firmest of the three. Okay, so again, not what I was expecting at all. Again, when it comes to the pure feel, it actually feels very similar to the regular Pro V1. It's not like it used to, where it's way clickier, way firmer. They feel very similar, but it does have a lot of power on it when you hit it pure. I really do feel like it's exploded. Not quite the 5 out of 5, but it is close. So 4 out of 5 on pure hits. And then on miss hits, I'll tell you what, miss hits, I'm gonna go ahead and, this is the first time this has ever happened, I'm gonna give it the 5 out of 5 on miss hits, which is the first time I've ever seen higher on miss hits. But the reason for that is because when you miss hit the ball, it actually still feels really smooth, really clean, and like it's got a lot of power behind it, but it does just kind of let you know like, hey man, that was a little off center, but you're all right, you're doing a great job. Big difference there between that and the regular Pro V1. The Pro V1 kind of stung the hands a little bit. I mean, not overly, but a little bit to let me know. Not the case with the X, so I did not see that coming. You know, my least favorite feeling of the three for sure. It does feel just a tad dead, just a tad. It does feel like there's a delay even on pure hits, so I would call like a 3.5. We'll bump it up to the 4 on pure hits, so it's going to look the same, but it's not quite there. And then miss hits, kind of the same thing. I'd say 3 out of 5 on miss hits. It's okay. But out of the three of them, I think the X is actually my favorite, not by a lot, but by a little. Now, one thing that is interesting about the Pro V1 series that I haven't seen with a lot of other golf balls is that the feel of the golf ball changes drastically depending on what club you're using. If you're using a wedge, you know, it's like soft, buttery, has a little bouncy ball to it. And then if you go to a 7-iron, it's a little firmer, has a little bit more of a power firm feel. And then you get to the drive, like it's just different all throughout. And it's kind of cool. I haven't seen anything like that. Now, is that a good thing or bad thing? I think it depends on the golfer. I think some golfers are going to be like, why does it feel so different, you know, here and there? And then I think some are going to be like, oh no, that's what makes it such a unique thing. I like it how it feels here. I know how it's going to feel with the wedges. I know how it's going to feel with the driver. It's unique. It's different. Again, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I just think it is interesting. I wanted to make a note to bring it up because I haven't seen that with a lot of golf balls, so it's interesting. All right, 50-yard pitch, backspin. Let's dive in and get this triple review going. We are looking at the Titleist Pro V1 there at 7,769. Then we are looking at the Pro V1X of 8,555 and then 8,126. Now the AVX and the Pro V1X are well above average, but I got to give the Pro V1X some props there. That is a new record for the season You know, obviously everything's changed from year to year, but for this season, that is by far the most spin I've gotten. Love to see that. Really, the disappointing one there is the Pro V1. I have so many people reach out on the channel or comment. They talk about how the Pro V1, you know, that's why they're willing to spend the money, is because the spin is just so much better. After the greenside performance and after that, I got news for you guys. There are way better options than that. But who knows? Maybe the Pro V1's more of a distance golf ball now, so we'll check that in the following. But the other two are above average. I love to see that, especially that Pro V1X. That's an amazing spin. I mean, that ball is going to have some serious bite and rip back. That's great. All right, getting into the pitching wedge, as you can see, okay, so Pro V1, as you can see, has a little bit lower spin, but it has more distance, so it's acting like a distance golf ball. The Pro V1X actually has above average distance and, you know, medium spin, which that's great. That's a great number right there. Love to see that. And then when it comes to the AVX, I actually lost a little bit of distance, as you can see, and I lost ball speed as well, and I lost spin, so not very good there. The other thing I notice is that I have a very high launch. Now, Titleist claims that the AVX is supposed to be a low launching golf ball, but that is by far the highest of the three, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. You know, yeah, everything from what I can see there, it looks like the AVX, again, just isn't holding its weight. I've never had much luck with it, unfortunately, but so far that number's low. Go Pro V1X. Like, Pro V1X, real quick, I didn't mention this. The Pro V1X is one of my most hated golf balls ever because in past, it's been so unforgiving. Like, you mishit it and it just, I mean, oh, it just so punishes you grippling. And so the numbers have always never been good. The fact that I've started out with 2 above average great scores, that's awesome. Maybe they've made some improvements to the Pro V1X that have really made a difference, because that's great. All right, so when it comes to the 7-iron now, as you can see, 162.2, 164.1, and 157.8 on your carry. That is average, above average, and oh my goodness, low, low, low. That's really bad with the AVX. If we come over to the ball speed, now you can see again, Pro V1X, really great. Pro V1, I actually lost ball speed, and the AVX, believe it or not, that is the lowest ball speed I have tested this year. Out of 30 golf balls tested this year, that is the lowest I've seen with the 7-iron. Beyond disappointing. And then again, look at that spin. Pro V1 has almost no spin. That is 300 RPM below my average, so it definitely wants to be a distance golf ball. 5,510 on your spin with the Pro V1X. That's mid, which is still great. It's going to hold a green, and AVX has some mid as well. So yeah, those are great. And then if you look at launch again, the AVX once again is by far the highest of the three. It's not a low launching golf ball, and the other two had a nice, you know, mid flight, which is great. So the big takeaway there is, one, the AVX is slowly tanking. I mean, it's on the downsend. It's the, I think they call it the nosedive, where the plane just completely stalls and it's on a nosedive, because the lowest ball speed of the year. You know, my first thought is, okay, am I over compressing it? But then even with the pitching wedge, I lost distance too. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see how the driver numbers are, but so far I'm not impressed with the AVX at all. Pro V1, my big problem there is that spin number is low and the distance number really didn't make up for it. And so what that tells me is that I think you have to be a very fast swinger, and I think you need to be a really darn good golfer in order to make that work. All 3 of these golf balls are not the best when it comes to forgiveness. They're just not. Throughout the forgiveness test, I've had issues. I will admit, this year is the best year I've seen, but the bar wasn't high before on forgiveness. So it is the best year I've seen, but let's be real. The Pro V1X right now is making its name known. This is great. This might go from one of my most hated golf balls to maybe something that has a potential to get in the top 20 here. This has been great so far, so I love to see that. But the other two, I don't know, just kind of, you know, it's kind of like when you eat a meal and you're still hungry and you're like, man, I just paid 10, 15 bucks for a meal and like now I'm still hungry. Like, do you guys offer dessert? I don't know. Do I want to pay for dessert? I don't know. I'm not digging it. Getting into the driver, we are looking at 225 with the Pro V1, which is just slightly below average. And then the other two, 232.8 and 232.3, those are about 6 yards more than my average. I love to see that. Getting into the ball speed, all of them are above average, which again is great. That's what I would expect. All the spin numbers are low, which is great. Again, I would expect that. And then if we look at the launch, the Pro V1 launched really, really low. I'll touch on that in just a second. And then the other two were kind of mid, which is great. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad to see that. You know, the Pro V1X obviously has had a phenomenal performance throughout. That's been great. The Pro V1, we'll touch on that in a second. The AVX actually now comes back and has a really good driver score, gained 6 yards, somewhere in there total. I also really like the ball speed on all three. You know, I would expect that. I would expect those tight numbers being the best. It does feel like maybe Titleist put a little too much into the driver and not enough with the other clubs because some of them suffered. But let's talk about the Pro V1 for a second of why those numbers were below average. Really what it comes down to is that launch angle. The Pro V1 for some reason wanted to just launch low every single time, and I could not get that golf ball to get higher. I mean, I know it's a distance golf ball. I know it's supposed to have penetrating flight. I just think that the average golfer is going to have an issue with that for sure. Because like me, you know, it's been proven. Last year, my average launch was 14.5. I've gained 10, 15 yards off the driver just from launching it now 16, 17, 18. I mean, boost, I think it was 19. I still got really crazy distance. So getting optimal launch to get that spin down is important for average golfers, advanced golfers, whatever. It feels like the Pro V1 is just for such an advanced golfer based on how it's wanting to launch and how it's wanting to come off the club. I don't think average golfers are going to be able to do much off the tee with it. Now, as far as the Pro V1X and the AVX though, both of those off the tee are, let me see, is there a negative here? No. No, there's no negative. All right, let's get into some accuracy and dispersion. Now, the Pro V1 will be in 2 separate images because I got rained out halfway through the first test. So anyway, just bear with me on that. This is the 50-yard pitch as well as some of the pitching wedge. Now, I did redo the pitching wedge, so we'll look at both of them. What I can tell from this image right here is that the accuracy was very, very good with the 50-yard pitch. I love that. Everything is right down the line. And then if we look at the pitching wedge, so if we look at the pitching wedge on this one, it's a lot better. Okay, so I like to see that. As you can see, there's a lot of dots in the middle there. Accuracy is really, really good. Distance dispersion is not as bad as before. Really good there. 4 out of 5. That's awesome. Getting into the 7, there's one pull there to the left, but everything else is, I mean, right there. That's some really tight dispersion. I like that a lot. I mean, I really do. It's all within the same realm. You can see I pushed a couple, but whether I pushed it or hit it straight, they all were very, very close to one another. Getting into the driver, though, I mean, you can just tell that driver is really where things started to fall apart. What I noticed about the driver, especially, that's where the lack of forgiveness with that Pro V1 really comes into play. I tell my golf ball addicts all the time. Sometimes I test a golf ball and it's so easy to hit that I get this confidence because I just put a ball down, boom, I hit a ball down and boom, because you feel comfortable. Every hit's coming off great. And sometimes you just can't get it to really do what you want and you get frustrated. That's how this was. I mean, it kept launching so low. You hit it off the toe, you lose 30 yards. And I mean, it was rough. It was a really rough driver testing. So, you know, that dispersion, that accuracy, that might be the worst I've seen with the driver. Now, you can account a little of that for me. Maybe my driver day wasn't the best. But compared to everything else I've tested out of 30 so far this season, that's rough. It really is. And so I don't know. I'm a firm believer at this point. I'm just not sure the Pro V1 is going to be for any average golfer whatsoever, even a good golfer or above good golfer. I think it's going to be for an elite crowd, but we'll touch on more of that at the end. Let's go ahead and get into the Pro V1X, which I'm really excited about now because it's had an amazing performance. So let's keep it going. All right, so looking at the 50-yard pitch, yeah, look at the accuracy there. I mean, you know, distance dispersion was pretty good too, but I mean, look at that. Just everything's right on the line. I love to see that. Look at the pitching wedge now. Oh my goodness, I almost got to zoom in on that. Like, that is some straight up darts. I love that. Holy cow. And then we get into the 7. Now, 7 accuracy is kind of all over the place, you know, but dispersion as far as distance and consistency, love to see that. That's great. I did not expect that at all from the Pro V1X. So again, I'm really impressed with that model. Getting into the driver. Now, again, when you first look at the accuracy part, it may look a little spread out, but let's look at the distance. Everything is right on that line. I love to see that. Somehow the X is the most forgiving of the 3. I don't understand that, but I love it. I'm here for it. But the other thing is, if you're wondering why, you know, it is a little more spread out, that's because, you know, the Pro V1X is more bendable. You can bend it left and right a little bit, and so for, I don't see this very often, but I actually had some draws, I had some fades. I actually want to show you this picture real quick here from the down the line view. That's what the driver looked like. So yes, the ball actually can be bent a little bit, so it kind of is all over the fairway, but the fact that it is traditionally so unforgiving, the fact that it is traditionally more for an advanced golfer who wants to bend it left and right, the fact that I could actually keep it in the fairway and get some fades and get some draws, but also keep the distance dispersion down, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. I like that. Let's finish it off with the AVX. So AVX, as you can see, this is the worst of the three when it comes to accuracy with the 50-yard pitch. This one's actually, instead of all being down the line, it's all over. Then we get into the pitching wedge, and again, you've got three that are down there at the bottom right. You've got the middle there that's not bad. You've got probably six right there in the middle that's really, really good. I like to see that. 7-iron, really good. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's a bunch of groupings in there. I like that a lot. I think all those are either going to be on the green or close. Then getting into the driver's great too. There's one far push way over there to the right, but other than that, everything is like right in line. I love to see it. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would expect these golf balls to be accurate. I mean, especially with the price point. Really what I'm seeing there is that I'm not thrilled with the AVX 50-yard pitch for sure. I think that, if I was spending this type of money, I would want a little tighter dispersion with that. And then the Pro V1 driver just being all over the place. Those are the only two I see that are like kind of a red flag, if you will. But everything else is pretty darn good. And again, the standout is that Pro V1X. It really is. That's been the standout throughout this whole test, and it continues to be. So let's go ahead and get into some durability now. Now, when it comes to the durability of the Pro V1, it does have a little bit of scuffing. It has, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There's some markings for sure. If you feel them, it does feel rough to the touch. There's also some scrapes there as well on the front of the golf ball, which I noticed as well. Honestly, the wedge is the harshest. The pitching wedge and the 50-yard are the harshest. I have no problem calling that an 8 out of 10 for sure. That passes. I do expect usually a little more when it comes to these golf balls because you are paying that extremely high price point, but I think 8 out of 10 is what every Pro V1 has been so far on durability. So at least they're consistent. Then we get into the Pro V1X, and if we're looking at this bad boy, again, you can see those markings in the ridges there. If I feel them, they do feel a little rough to the touch. Come around here next to the Titleist logo, and again, we've got some cuts there as well. All of it's very minor, but if I do feel them, they do feel rough to the touch, meaning that the putting is going to start being affected. So again, this one's an 8 out of 10 as well. It passes. I would have liked to have seen a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, but 8 out of 10 passes. It'll get the job done. It'll get you through a round. Last but not least, we have the AVX, and this is the yellow model, and I'll tell you what, I mean, this thing looks great. No cuts, no abrasions. If I feel the golf ball, it feels smooth throughout. There's one little tiny spot right there. But my goodness, no, that's great. And I mean, this was a full 100 shots with this thing. Yeah, that's a 10 out of 10. I love to see that. That's what I was really hoping for from the other two. So the AVX does come through with a 10 out of 10. That might be the only thing it has going for it. But you know what? 10 out of 10, you still got to respect it. So in conclusion, these are the best Pro V models I've seen. They're the best ones I've tested so far. However, again, we run into that issue of they're so expensive, and going into this test, I know some of you might seem it unfair, but I expect them to be near perfect. And when it comes to the Pro V1, there is still some things from an average golfer standpoint that are left to be desired. The greenside performance, I would have expected more for $55 a dozen. When it comes to the chipping and the greenside checkup, I really would have expected more. When it comes to, the numbers as far as losing ball speed with certain clubs, the Pro V1 is more of a distance model at this point. And the thing about distance model golf balls, they are for advanced golfers. So if you are someone who is a average, good, I mean, even a 10 handicap, even a 7 handicap, I would just stay away from that Pro V1. I really would, because the other thing I noticed is that when you mishit it, it is very, very inconsistent on what it wants to do. I mean, if you hit it great, it's fine. I mean, if you hit it pure, it performs adequately. That's the best way I can describe it. But boy, you start to mishit that thing and you see really low launches. You see massive drops in spin. It's just crazy. Side spin all over, dispersion issues. You need to be an elite ball striker, I think, and you need to be someone who swings very, very fast and who wants a distance. Maybe you spin the ball way too much and you need something more of a distance golf ball to keep that spin down. Then yes, If you're playing golf competitively and all that of what I just said matches to you, then yeah, absolutely give it a try. I mean, Titleist has an amazing manufacture process as far as keeping everything, you know, square, and you know you're going to get the best results there. So, but for average golfer, I'm still not impressed. Please stay away. Next up, I do want to talk about the AVX real quick. I know it's out of order, but the AVX, again, I always run into this issue with the AVX is that I lose ball speed. I really do. It's one of the lowest ball speed performers of the year. I'm not a big fan of it. $55 a dozen. I'm not exactly who it's for, to be honest with you. I mean, based on the numbers, Titleist says it's supposed to have an extremely low launch. I got a high or mid launch throughout. You know, there's a couple numbers sprinkled in there, like the durability and the 50-yard pitch, where the AVX really comes into play, but I don't see nearly enough to justify $55 a dozen. I just don't. You know, my first thought was maybe it's for a slower swinger, but then the pitching wedge 7-iron don't perform great, but then the driver performs really good. And so I'm like, well, no, it ain't that then. And I'm like, well, maybe it's for, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's just too much inconsistency there. I'm not a big fan of it. And again, because of the price point, it's not going to get a recommendation from me, unfortunately. However, this is a first. The Pro V1X this year, I don't know what they did to it. I don't know how they changed it, but that's a darn good performance. It really is. It had the best greenside performance of all three golf balls. It has a really interesting feel. I love how it feels on miss hits. It's no longer really firm. It's no longer super punishing. Is the forgiveness going to win any awards? No, but I don't expect it to. It's a tour ball. It's not designed to have forgiveness. It's designed for elite golfers. But as an average Joe, I came in playing this golf ball, and let's just look at it. 50-yard pitch, heck yeah, baby. Pitching wedge, oh yeah. 7-iron, yep. Driver, 2 thumbs up. Across the board, it was really, really great. Now, would I ever spend $55 a dozen on it? No. I've got too many golf balls that I've tested and I'm looking at that are half the price and perform just as good, or, you know, somewhat close in the ballpark, whatever. However, if you are a Titleist loyalist, if you are one of these guys that constantly talk about, you know, how you love the Pro V1 or the Pro V1X or whatever, yeah, I mean, I could see you playing this golf ball, absolutely. If price is not an issue to you and you want to play a Titleist golf ball and you want that manufacture process, can't believe I'm going to say this, but yeah, the Titleist Pro V1X does get a recommendation from me if all those factors come into play. It's pretty good. I mean, honestly, it's really hard. Other than the price point, I think the price point's really the only negative of the golf ball. Everything else is either above average or it passes or it checks the box. So really good to see. So whatever you did, Titleist, with this golf ball, I need that same energy with the Pro V1 and the AVX. And if you do that, you'll have a great lineup. But in the meantime, right now, this is by far the standout, which is crazy because again, to reiterate, I need you all to understand how much I hated the Pro V1X in previous years. Bottom 10 golf ball, bottom 20 golf ball for me. The forgiveness was so terrible. I was losing 10, 15 yards almost every single hit because of it. Not the case anymore. Got to give credit where credit's due. Good job, Titleist. All right. Guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, keep learning. Until next time, what do you want to see next? Let me know in the comments.